This is KGW News at Sunrise.
2 pedestrians were hit by MAX trains over the weekend. What we know about the incidents that happened 2 days apart.
Also over the weekend, a racist attack killed 10 people at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. We spoke to an expert on hate-filled extremism to find out how the issue is being addressed locally here in Oregon.
Plus, in our Sunrise Spotlight, a local fundraiser that helps people with Parkinson's disease. Friend of the Sunrise Show, Brian Grant, is the man behind it all. More on Shake It Till We Make It in just a few minutes.
Yeah, they've been doing that event for years, so happy to see that back this Friday night.
Yeah.
Happy to see you, Rod Hill, on this Monday morning. I don't look forward to Mondays, Rod.
You don't?
But I look forward to hanging out with you.
Well, that's very sweet. Wish I could say the same.
Bromance.
No, just kidding.
Yes. Separated by a Brendan. What do you got for us weather-wise?
Not a bad Monday. We are watching a shower chance this morning. It looks to be kind of a lingering deal where some of us could see a light shower at some point this morning into early afternoon. A lot of us probably won't see any rain. Right now, radar is showing everything is up north of Castle Rock. So that's north of our viewing area. We do have cloudy skies over the city. It's still humid and it's still crazy warm for this time of the morning. 58 degrees right now out at the airport. So to the bus stop we go. We're watching a shower chance, but I mean, you know, overall, you may or may not want to take the time to grab a rain jacket. 54 out the door, 62 at noon. The shower chance itself completely ends around 3 o'clock or so this afternoon. At that time, we should be mainly partly cloudy and in the mid 60s when the kids get out of school.
All right, Rod, we'll have more for you coming up, of course, in a few minutes. But right now, we do want to get to our top story this hour. It's a traffic alert after a MAX train hit a pedestrian at about 9 o'clock last night. This happened at Northeast 82nd and Jonesmore Street, and it was the second time this weekend that a MAX train hit a pedestrian. Portland police say the person who was hit last night was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. The light rail station at 82nd and Jonesmore will stay closed while police continue their investigation. On Friday, a person died after they were hit by a MAX train in Northeast Portland. This one happened around 10:30 Friday night near Northeast 160th and Burnside. And according to TriMet, the person who was hit was standing on the tracks at the time.
We turn now to the mass shootings that happened over the weekend, starting with the most recent in Southern California. A gunman opened fire at the Geneva Presbyterian Church in Laguna Woods yesterday afternoon. 1 person died, 5 more are injured. Police say members of the congregation detained the shooter, took away his weapons, and tied him up using extension cords. No word yet on a possible motive.
It was an act of evil. Yes, it was. Evil.
Investigators are calling Saturday's mass shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York, a racist hate crime. 10 people died, including store security guard Aaron Salter, a retired Buffalo police officer who tried to stop the shooter.
He worked over 20-something years as a Buffalo police officer and lost his life at Tops. Disgusting to me.
A total of 13 people were shot, 11 of them African American. Investigators say the shooter drove 200 miles to Buffalo the day before the attack looking for a target. The accused gunman was investigated a year ago for making a threat, but he was released after a brief mental health evaluation. According to the White House, President Biden is scheduled to visit Buffalo tomorrow.
And coming up later on the Today Show, the wife of one of those killed tells her story. She thought this shooting was a prank when she first heard about it, but she later learned about what really happened and that it was a racially motivated crime.
Why this way? That was my response. And I said, God, I know we all have a set time, but why did he have to leave this way? That was my response. I didn't know if I should be angry. I didn't know if I should be hurt. This is all different kind of emotions, but the first thing I thought of, why this way?
You can hear more of her story. It's coming up on the Today Show right after sunrise at 7 o'clock.
When it comes to violent and hate-filled extremism, Oregon is actually ranked as one of the worst places in the country.
Galen Etlin follows up on the broader issue here and how it's being addressed.
The community of Buffalo, New York is mourning at least 10 people shot and killed Saturday at this grocery store.
It will be prosecuted as a hate crime.
Investigators say an 18-year-old gunman had an evil goal
of taking as many black lives as he possibly could.
Yes, sir. I understand my charges.
The shooter traveled several hundred miles from home and posted a manifesto online before the shooting. He called himself a white supremacist and referenced other racial attacks.
Sharing his information, his ideas, his hatred online. That's what scares me, is how far this virus is now spreading and how quickly.
And it just seems to be escalating.
Professor Randall Blazek is chair of Oregon's Coalition Against Hate and studies extremist ideology.
And it's really frightening how we've seen the normalization of some of the rhetoric that drives white supremacist violence.
They will deny jobs to people who have the wrong skin color.
A repeated narrative of being pushed out,
making white people feel like somehow the world is out to get them,
leading some to react in violence.
A sick, demented individual who has fueled a daily diet of hate.
And they believe that if they don't act now, that their country is going to go away. So there's this sort of ticking time bomb element to it.
A report from March about domestic terrorism and extremist attacks showed Oregon ranked the 6th highest in the nation for incidents between 2011 and 2020, making up 10% of all attacks in 2020 alone, despite Oregon ranking 27th in population. The state's audits director and the former U.S. attorney for Oregon both explained the problem.
We are one of only 16 states that do not have specific legislation criminalizing domestic terrorism.
People need to be held accountable, and if they know they're not going to be, well, we see what the result is.
Oregon has a history of extremism, from the Rajneesh poisoning of an entire county,
our purpose,
to the armed militia takeover at the Malheur Wildlife Refuge, and even more recent attacks on Portland's downtown Justice Center by the far left and attacks on Oregon's Capitol by the far right.
Break it in, motherfucker! They see themselves as good people.
Blazek tracks extremists online and has a $750,000 grant for an anti-violence program called Cure PDX.
Violence can spread from person to person, so if we can find places to interrupt that spread by having people within communities to kind of know who's the most contagious.
The program aims to reach potential offenders and avoid racist attacks, like in Buffalo.
I think people of color all over America today are having another reminder that there are people who want to kill them just for existing in their skin.
What is your message for people in the community kind of feeling this hopelessness, feeling this trauma?
What we're trying to do is help people to be more empathetic.
Galen Etlin, KGW News.
And now to some of the other headlines that we're tracking for you on this Monday. It was a wild weekend in Eugene. Police say they arrested or ticketed 64 people for things like violating noise ordinances, having an open container, and minors in possession of alcohol. Eugene police had extra patrols out in the West University area because of other incidents involving wild parties recently. Well, tomorrow is Election Day here in Oregon. The biggest change this year, you can drop off your ballot in the mail on Election Day. As long as it's postmarked on or before May 17th, it's going to count. You can also drop off ballots at county election sites until 8 o'clock election night. And there are no more secrecy sleeves inside your return envelope. That will save paper, money, and processing time. And that's a quick look at some of your local headlines.
Abortion rights demonstrations took place across the country on Saturday. KGW's Christelle Coonway was in downtown Portland that day as hundreds of people filled Chapman Square in support of abortion access.
Hundreds of protesters took to the streets of downtown Portland Saturday afternoon to demand safe and legal access to abortion.
It's bans on our bodies.
The Chapman Square rally was part of the national Bans Off Our Bodies Day of Action organized by Planned Parenthood and other groups. Similar rallies took place in communities across the state and nation.
We are saying no, don't touch our body. It's our decision, our choice, and we want to put a ban on anybody thinking that they have the say that they can do that.
The rallies are a direct response to a leaked U.S. Supreme Court draft opinion suggesting the court may soon overturn Roe v. Wade, the landmark decision that legalized abortion.
No matter what the Supreme Court does, this fight will continue.
Healthcare and political leaders were also on hand Saturday for a news conference before the rally. Senator Jeff Merkley and Governor Kate Brown vowed to fight for abortion access.
We have a constitution designed around the idea of liberty and freedom. And this court is determined to tear that down, and we're determined to say No way.
It's incredibly important that Oregonians who believe in making sure that women and people have the right to this essential health care vote. And so it's like, get out your ballot and make sure you vote.
Many demonstrators carrying signs and cheering agreed.
Half of America will have their civil rights rolled back. I think every person has a chance to make a difference, and they can make a difference by voting.
Absolutely. Do your research, make your decisions, check your resources, and look at your heart and your gut and see what it's telling you.
If Roe is overturned, individual states would take over, and Oregon and Washington both have laws protecting abortion access. Meanwhile, we're hearing from a group called Human Life of Washington. Its executive director has counseled women at pregnancy care centers, recommending maternity housing and adoption as alternatives to abortion.
And really, the pregnancy is a temporary housing for someone else on the planet, and they feel really good and empowered that they made the good choice.
Leaders with Planned Parenthood say Washington could see a 385% increase in patients seeking abortions. In part, that's because Idaho is likely to ban them if Roe is reversed.
All right, before we get to Rod Hill and his local forecast, a look outside along the Oregon coast this morning. This is that brand new sky cam we have down there by Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. So cloudy start to the day down there, Rod. What are we looking at weather-wise across the country?
Like
I was about to say country, but I'm not going to put that much pressure on
Well, yeah. Okay. So cloudy skies. It's dry along our coast right now. There is still a chance of what we would consider to be a lingering shower this morning, but right now the radar is showing everything is even up north of Longview and up north of Castle Rock. By the way, the rain yesterday, Saturday, I was amazed how nice it turned out to be, 73. Yesterday, I was amazed how rainy it turned out to be. We still hit 70. It became the first back-to-back 70-degree temperatures that we've had so far this year, and the rainfall yesterday was 18/100ths. Put PDX up over 2.5 inches at 2.58. So that's now more than we typically would get for the entire month of May, 2.51. And if you're wondering, okay, the wettest May on record at the airport had 5.55. That was back in the May of 1998. Here are the clouds over the city this morning. We are seeing dry weather at this moment, as I mentioned. 58 degrees is the temperature. Futurecast, just a few green dots around, so it shows a lingering shower chance this morning into early this afternoon. Once we get to 3 or 4 at the latest, the rain chance completely ends, and it'll be partly cloudy, less humid, and pretty nice out there late this afternoon and going into your evening hours. How much rain? I mean, this shows a dab or not a dab, depending on where you are for the day today. Early temperatures are really mild. We're 50 in Astoria, 58 in Portland, 56 in Salem. Look at this. 53 or warmer from Seattle all the way down to Eugene. And we're in the 50s in Pendleton and 47 out in Baker City. 7-day forecast numbers. So today, pretty nice overall. We'll slowly start to take the humidity out of the air. 66. Tomorrow, 44, maybe upper 30s in some spots. A cool night tonight. We get up to 70, completely dry Tuesday. Then it's rainy weather Wednesday, heavy showers Thursday. Friday could end up being dry. For now, I'm just watching a shower chance. And the weekend forecast currently shows the possibility of some rain coming in Saturday afternoon. That's what I have for now.
Rod, thank you. Hey, stay tuned. Sunrise Spotlight is focused on Shake It Till You Make It. It's a Parkinson's fundraiser, and that man, a familiar face, Brian Grant, is behind the effort. I'm going to be emceeing, so I want to tell you all about it. That's coming up after the break.